Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Round 2 tonight of the RSR World Series, or the RSR American GTE Series. Sorry, we had the World Series earlier on. I'm Harry Wills, and I'm joined today by Casey Metzger.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this race. I'm looking forward to getting this one underway.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. We've seen some of these guys through the practice sessions that we put up, so they all have 2 practice sessions during the week to set their best times. And we have seen some really quick times from some of the amateurs as well as some of the pros. So the amateurs are now out on track as we speak. And we can see there on the screen we've got some track conditions. So a bit of wind, I don't think that's going to make a difference. Watkins Glen is 5.41 kilometres. And we are using the boot configuration of the layout today. So that will involve the bus stop chicane before the carousel turn. And then they go into the boot section after that. And then back on, joining up with the NASCAR section of the track, if you will, to complete a lap. So times that we've seen, some of the quick times are in the 41s, 42s. And we're going to see what sort of times that these guys can post as the amateurs are coming round, I think, to complete their first timed lap. So they get 2 timed laps. Yeah, I think we're going to see some decent times today. The track's nice and grippy. It's not too hot, and I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, we saw some great racing with these guys last week at Daytona, and I really expect that just to continue on here tonight. But a lot of differences between the 2 tracks, though. Last week it was all about surviving the infield, if you will. Trimming that car out, getting max speed down the straightaways. Now for this one here, though, it's got long sweeping corners. Watkins Glen really has everything you can ask for in a track. It's got the elevation changes. It's got fast sweeping corners. It's got very technical, sharp, slow speed corners. So it really can be tricky for the guys to get the car set up just right and to figure out how to get the most speed out of that car.
Yeah, it's a very tricky one. And some of the lads that we're seeing, as we are with Simon Dodd, have just done the RSR World Series earlier on this evening, and they did 2 30-minute races around Montreal in the GT3 cars. And Simon Dodd, who drives a Ferrari GT3, and that has brought the Ferrari GTE out for a play tonight on Watkins Glen. Very different track to what Montreal is. Montreal's very tight, very twisty. This nice, open flowing. Simon has came into the session quite late. Has just gone with a 44.1. But the typical boys that we've seen in the practice sessions, James Howard and James Costa, are the 2 guys at the top of the board. They have been the quickest of AMs this week, and I think Costa will have a little bit more in him than a 43.2. But we'll see what sort of time that he can post. Actually, no, he's out of the car, so that is he's going to be his time as a 43.2. Let's see what sort of time Lydon can do, who's currently in the 3rd spot. Takes a little bit of a wide line through there. If he kept on the apex of that, he'd have got a very good run down. He would have compromised himself slightly with that one. And this corner here is probably, I'd say, one of the, if not the trickiest corner on the track. It's a really sort of cambered in. The car holds you into position as you go through the apex of that corner. But obviously carrying just a bit too much speed in, the exit of that really can bite you if you run out wide onto the grass, and you can get the car rotated, which would be, it's almost a race ender in many respects, because you've got barriers either side of you and not a lot of runoff at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think one corner to keep an eye on tonight is going to be that last corner coming up out of the boot, back onto, like we said, the proverbial NASCAR section of the track, what they like to call the backstretch. That corner can be very deceptive, because you enter it and you think you've got a lot of grip, and when you get to the exit of the corner, the car will just snap on you if you are not ready for it. So I'm predicting we're going to see at least maybe 1 or 2 self-spins at some point tonight coming back out of that boot.
Yeah, which would be a bit of a shame, I think, if anyone does do it. And they could also, that barrier on the exit of that last turn is incredibly unforgiving. It's a very high speed corner. We see James unfortunately parking his car before he gets a chance to finish that lap. But a 42.412 is currently the pole sitting time. And we will get the pros lined up now. So pros are coming out of their pit stalls and lining up at the end of pit lane, ready to go onto track. So Jeff Applegreen there, who was, I'd say he's probably the quickest boy out there from Daytona. But this is a very different beast around here. So let's see what sort of times you can do in with a Porsche. It's a good mix of Porsche and Corvette, I'd say, in the top flight here in this series.
Yep.
So once these guys have all got themselves gridded up and lined up here, we're going to be releasing them out onto track. I think there's one more just joining at the back. So once he's there, we will turn them loose and set them off. So let's get these guys out there. Track is now live for pros. Can we have all pros on track now, please? And there they go. They are away.
Yeah, it looks like Taylor Lane got a good jump out of the pit lane there.
Yeah, he definitely didn't want to be held up. So there is a rule with this. We do not allow any overtaking at all with under qualifying. So they have to make sure they leave a good, decent gap between each other as they go out. As you can see them doing exactly that as they come out of pit lane, making sure they don't trip over each other for the time lapse, which can be a bit of a shame. So Jeff Applegreen. Now this is a guy who I think is going to be a real strong contender for getting the pole position here in race one. Quickest guy last week at Daytona, I think, and I think he took the pole at Daytona.
I think you're right. I don't remember exactly, but that would not surprise me at all.
Yeah,
and yeah, as you said, he's very, very fast in that car. Really consistent too. He didn't just go up there and charge his way to the front in race one. Because no, actually, now that I recall, it was Jersey Glack who got the pole. He sat behind Jersey Glack pretty much all race and waited till the end. Waited for the handling to go away on that Corvette, and he pounced. It wasn't like he just went after it right from lap one.
He timed the move.
Very patient. Yep. Yes, he did.
So it's going to be between Jersey Glack and Jeff Applegreen, and it is Porsche versus Corvette as they come around to start the first of the two-time laps. Just had a message from James Costa saying he didn't put enough fuel in for 2 laps, which is why we didn't get to see a second-time lap.
Oh, no.
Rookie mistake there. So Jersey Glack is coming round the last corner to start his time section, and there we go. So
yeah, if their practice times are any indication, those two look like they might be the fastest here tonight. So followed not far behind by James Howard. Yeah,
it's we're going to see a little bit of AMs and pros probably overlapping. It's just the nature of the beast. The split of AM and pro is done by their I rating. So if any of these guys are above the 2,000 threshold, they will be a pro. And we do see some of the guys in here with up and around the 4K mark, especially in the top runners. So those guys are really, say, the real cream of the field. And I think it's going to be a couple of guys, Nick Veltner even, who is a new driver to the RSR American Series. Is a guy that I've raced with a few times and done some endurance stuff with. And he really knows what he's doing. He's had minimal practice for today, though, so we're going to see just what he can do when he's put on the spot. Belton has done many endurance, a very well-seasoned veteran of iRacing, so he's going to have a good run at this one, I think, even though he has done minimal practice. You could put him in a soapbox and he'd be quick.
Yeah, well, and you know, one guy to keep an eye on tonight from the AM series is going to be our current pole sitter. You know, I know James, I talk to him quite frequently. He actually runs this track, you know, for fun. He'll get on here and he will turn lap after lap after lap at Watkins Glen. So he knows this place like the back of his hand. And I know Jeff Applegren, Jersey Black, obviously those boys are going to be fast. But, you know, if they make a mistake, I would expect James to be right there, not far behind, and maybe sneak away with a win here tonight. So
we see Jersey Black just taking provisional pole of the 42-1. Oh,
Applegren.
Yeah,
wow,
no,
that's tight.
So we're nearly in the 41s, and yeah, we kind of saw that coming, that he was going to be right up there with a 42.069. Now Taylor Lane's provisional time is a 42.957. Let's see what sort of time he can do. Andrew running very wide out of turn 1 there. Just got that a little bit late. Andrew, unfortunately, had a bit of a medical issue this week. I think he's had an issue with a blood clot, which I think is now on the mend.
Oh my goodness.
So he spent the driver's briefing line there. Oh, Christian Furs is around. So Christian Furs' time of the 43.060 is going to be what he posts. I don't think he's not going to get a chance to improve that. But yeah, Andrew had a bit of a medical issue this week, and he is out there having a go. But from the messages I've been having back and forth with him, he is in immense pain. So we wish him a speedy recovery, and hopefully he's not in too much discomfort. I told him to get himself a stiff drink and probably not combine that with painkillers. That's not probably not going to do him any favours in setting a quick lap here. But he's there or thereabouts, currently in 7th position with a 42.997. Jersey Black is just coming through the last corner.
See what he can do here.
Let's see if he can improve and take the top spot away. Does he go quicker?
43.4.
No, he really lost some time on that one. It
seems, you know, and I was watching this from some of the AMs, and it seems to be following over into the Pro Series here. But it seems like you're only going to get really one fast lap out of these tires, and then they start to fall off a little bit. So that might be something else we're going to have to keep an eye on here tonight is, you know, tire fall off. Even though this is only a 30-minute race, that could really be a factor if these guys are falling off that much just after one lap.
It very much is. Let's see what sort of time Nick can do. Nick does not improve with a 44. No, he does improve. So Nick puts himself 43.1. So that's not bad considering he's not turned any laps of practice. He's jumped in the car very green and just gone out there and put himself ultimately towards the back of the pro field, but he's there or thereabouts. So let's go through the results of the qualifying session. Jeff Applegreen is your top man with a 42.069, followed by Jersey Black with a 42.152. James Howard, your leading AM, puts it on third at the inside of the second row with a 42.412. Gavin Boyer on the right with a 42.520. Spec Welch with a 42.587. Jacob Schneider, 42.791. Taylor Lane, 42.957. Andrew Hewson in immense pain, with probably dosed up on painkillers, with a 42.997. Christian Furs, just the one lap from him with that spin going into the carousel with a 43.060. And then we've got Kenny Rodriguez with a 43.069. William Paisley, 43.091. And Nick Velter with a 43.185. James F. Costa is your second place and with a 43.2 with just the one lap from him. Daniel Torino with a 43.348 brings in at 14th. So now as we go into your 15th and above, so we've got Lyden Lee is your 15th position with a 43.389. Eric Kaluga, 43.574. Stephen Martinez with a 43.7. Carl Frenchman with another 43.7. Matt Balsia with a 43.828. Sam Lira in the Ford with a 43.849. Michael Kaluga, 43.895. Simon Dodd, newcomer to the series and RSR World Series driver with a 44.162. And a new driver again, Warwick with a 44.327. Dean Timms with a 44.512. Greg Edney, 45.163. Derek Dennis, his first race out today, missed Daytona unfortunately with a 45.255. John Casey, 46.683. Tom Nastakis with a 3 minute. Now, was he eating a sandwich while he's going round, or did he start? Is there a McDonald's somewhere he went through the drive-through in?
I think he might have been practicing his pace laps. I'm not sure.
Great shout. He's preparing for the pile up in the S's where they throw a safety car. With a 3 minutes 0.0118. So we are going now to roll the session over into race. We're going to turn these guys loose for the start of round 2. So we are now in the race session, and these guys are going to be lining up for what will be race 1 of round 2. And again, we've got a couple of new faces out there. Slightly bigger grid than we had last time. So we've got 29 drivers out there. I think we had 28 for the first round. So let's just see what those top guys are going to do. Jeff Applegreen and Jersey Black. I think this race is going to be pretty tight between them, but there are some quick lads down the field. I think James Costa's going to be making it's a tricky one with what you do here, because I know Costa was running, I think he did a very low 42 in pre-practice 2. So he's going to be wanting to make his way through the field. First time of a 43.2. So that's definitely his banker lap. So that just puts him a time in. I think we all apply the little strategy of setting a banker lap and then trying to improve that on your second time. But unfortunately, he didn't put enough fuel in the car to complete the second lap. So notes will be taken, hopefully, to put some more fuel in. And of course, for race 2, we do have the reversed grid, where we're going to be seeing a guy who is a little bit lower down the field having a chance of putting his car on pole. And then also the reverse of that is we're going to see those quick boys towards the back trying to make their way through. Now, Jevon Gunning is who we're with here. Now, Jevon didn't qualify. He's very new to iRacing, very new to the network in general. And he has put that car right at the back of the grid, didn't set a time. But hopefully keeps himself clean, keeps himself fair. And I think he's a bit nervous about getting in people's way, and obviously we don't want to see that. Best of luck, Jevon. And hopefully you get some decent positions and get some points in your first round. So pace car is going to be going here in a little over 15 seconds. And that's a whole grid of eager GTE guys there chomping at the back of this Porsche on the pace lap.
Oh, absolutely. Now, see, if I'm sitting in one of these cars right now, you know, the nerves are starting to kick in. You're starting to think about, what am I going to do on the start here? You know, do you want to try and charge, or do you want to kind of take it easy for the first lap, let things settle in, you know, and then make your charge from there? Or are you just going to go right after it and try and make your way to the front, maybe if you didn't get a good qualifying lap? So those are the things, you know, some of these guys are starting to think about right now. So
absolutely.
You know, and especially with turn 1 being the way it is, things can go very wrong very quickly.
Yeah, and that will be... it's not necessarily turn 1 that worries me, because you've got plenty of nice wide runoff there. You know, I think in RSR World Series Season 1, when we went to Watkins Glen with the GT3s, there was a massive pile-up at turn 1, followed up very quickly by a massive pile-up in this section they're going through here of the S's, which is, dare I say, where I'm a little bit worried about if they can get up there cleanly with the level of cars that we've got. There you see the full grid there of GTEs. And, it's going to be exciting. Look forward to this.
I've been looking forward to this race all week. Ever since we left Daytona, I've been chomping at the bit to get this race going. After some of the racing that we saw, you know, especially at the end of race 2, with those guys just going tooth and nail, you know, I've been looking forward to this one. So,
yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Got a nice big grid of cars out there, just under 30 cars. So we're going to be seeing, hopefully, some really clean racing, and hopefully not too much of the crashing, which is not what we want to see, of course. But yeah, it does look nice, that Porsche. We said it in the... and that Corvette does, to be fair. I think we've got some really fantastic looking cars out there, but that multicoloured skin of Jeff Applegreen is really, really quite a handsome bit of kit.
And very well done.
Providing he can keep it the shiny side up and make it look like that at the end of the race, he should be a strong contender for taking the win here. We go on board. And we really don't want to see any safety cars. I really want these guys to make it through at the top of that hill without any massive dramas. The cold tyres will have an effect, as long as all these guys bear that in mind, that they're not going to be on prime rubber until at least the end of the first lap.
Yeah. Yeah, and those S's, like you said, they can be very tricky. And you're going from a really wide turn 1, and it funnels all down into preferably single file, but you can run up through there too wide, although that's not ideal.
Not what you want to be doing on lap 1 while you're on cold rubber and things aren't quite as grippy as what you're hoping they're going to be. As they are coming through onto the NASCAR track and out of the boot section. What a stunning looking array of cars we've got. And we're going to be staying with Jeff Applegreen when they go through. Now the pace car is going to be sticking on the right here. No pit stops in this race, so we are going to hopefully go green to check in without any of those nasty yellows in it. But we'll see here what Jeff does as he comes round to take the start. Pace car peels off. And we have a green flag, and they are away. So Jeff Applegreen has got the run on Jersey Glax, nosing ahead. But we
look at James Howard.
Yeah, he's looking.
His nose in there for second.
And we've so far made it through turn 1, all okay. No spinners, no dramas as they come up through the S's. And this is the bit I've been worried about. We've got cars running a little wide. Oh, they've made it. They've made it. The majority of the grid has made it through. We've got nobody around. We've got nobody spinning. It's been an absolute textbook start. But they are going through this tricky section. The bus stop chicane, and we've got a spinner. James Costa manages to lock the rears up. Oh, that's a shame. But he's going to get it turned around without making contact with anything. But that is put him right at the back of the grid with a massive amount of work to do as we cut to a replay here. As you can see, Costa just grabs the brake and Ford doing Ford things there of just spitting him out to the right. Cold tyres. Little eager on the pedal. Oh, not what can you do? Not having a good day. Not enough fuel for race 2, for lap 2 in his qualifying, and nearly ends up facing the wrong way. But let's get back to the action here as we're with car 4 of William Paisley. Currently William is sitting in P11 overall. What will be P10 in class, because there's only one amateur up there at the minute, and I think the only other amateur that would really have something for James Howard was James Costa, who managed to put it in the gravel trap at the bus stop chicane.
Yep, looks like these guys are all getting kind of spread out, at least for the first about 10 or 11, 12 cars. Everybody kind of single file settling in as we got to move down into turn 1. So one of the cars advancing a position there. But for the most part, it looks... All right, so Nick taking up a position in turn 1. But yeah, so far pretty domestic start. Nothing too crazy just yet.
That's what we like to see. We don't want to see any dramas, but we have a move here. Christian Furs is all over the back of, I think that's Jacob Schneider. No, it's not actually. I'm lying. That's Kenny Rodriguez. I think Rodriguez. Yeah. So doesn't manage to get anything done there. But I know Christian didn't have the best of races, unfortunately, at Montreal earlier on in the evening with RSR World Series. So he has already said to me that he wants to be making his stamp on this one. As Kenny runs out wide, lets him through. Fair move there. I think that's just good racecraft to understand when you beat. So
looks like he just lost the back of the car and was just trying to catch it, keep from going off track there into the barrier.
But we do have a bit of side by side between Taylor and Jacob, but I think it's Andrew Houston, sorry. And I think Taylor gets that moved on quite clearly. Andrew's out there with probably something between his teeth, biting down hard because he's probably in a lot of pain with what's going on, but he's doing a great job there of just letting Taylor through without any major issues. But Nick Veltner is putting his stamp on this series. He's now currently, I believe, up in 10th position, and he is chasing down and didn't lose any time on the leaders. So 9th position. and Nick goes around the outside of Christian first, makes him look like Christian was stationary there. But he's doing absolutely fantastic as he comes through the S's again. Racing for Team Eclipse, and I think we do have another Eclipse driver out there with Dean Timms, I believe, who's currently a little bit down the order in 24th in the overall standings. But these guys here have done such a fantastic job of getting themselves all sorted and not having any calamities, which is just, it's brilliant to see them all still out there having a go. I don't think we've got any retirements as of yet, and let's touch some wood that it stays that way, hopefully.
Yeah, so far the biggest incident that I've seen has been Costa's off track there in the inner loop. Other than that, you know, so far it's like I said, it's been really good. So
yeah, it's been very clean racing, and we're still, you know, the top 15 are only covered by 10 seconds. So I'd say to any of those pros lads that can put some moves in if they need them, you know, they're going to be moving up the order. Jeff Applegreen and Jersey Glack are only split by just under half a second. Really. Yeah, it's not at all.
Car length and a half.
So those guys.
They're not getting away either. Like I said, James Howard, he's just kind of lurking back there. So.
Well, he's top of the pile in class. There's no need for him to do anything. An overall win, other than the feeling it gives you of winning an overall, really for him is absolutely nothing. He's not going to gain anything by putting any moves on these. In fact, he could fall down that pro order and still come out exactly the same as where he was. So no need for him to be doing anything. Kicks up a little bit of dirt there. There's Jeff Applegreen on the exit of turn 1, the same as Jersey Glack, using every millimetre of road they can put the car on safely without having any issues. And you can see their combination of their lap time. So Jersey Glack was 0.3 quicker on the last lap than what Jeff Applegreen was. But I think, well, if you're Jersey Glack in this position, you're just going to be hoping for a mistake, hoping for a drop wheel off into the grass or something like that, and making that job easy rather than doing anything. And I'm sure Jersey just sat there using that draft to maintain on the back of him. Oh, we've got a car off. Spec Welch. Oh, and he's buried in the barrier. Oh, what has happened to Spec? Let's just get a replay of that. So bus stop chicane, noses it in. And how did he get all the way back there? That's a mystery. So he's gone into the bus stop chicane.
Oh, he jumped the curb. He jumped the curb just a little bit, upset the car, and sent him right into the barrier.
So into the barrier, but did he reverse back and then beach himself somehow? Reverse back. And he's just...
Yeah, it looks like he reversed to kind of get the car in a better spot where he could get going again. And
what is going on there? I think he is. He's definitely got himself going. But something, unless he was just waiting there until the grid, the field passes.
I think that's what he was doing there. Yeah.
But he is stone cold last now. What a shame. Beck was having a great race. I think he was up in 5th position. Oh, we see a move here between. That's Christian Furs. Nick Veltner has moved up the field again. Currently P8. Man on a mission is Nick. And could be a real contender up and coming for the championship. The sort of lap times he's putting in. Nick Veltner's last lap time is a 43.6. And that is going to be with him in the traffic.
Yeah.
So he's running within half a second of what the leaders are doing while overtaking people. But he's got a good little bit of space in between him and Taylor Lane up ahead. So let's just sort of see what sort of time he can put in. Wouldn't have been compromised too heavily with the overtaking the turn 1. But providing he can keep himself clean and tidy for this lap, let's just see what sort of lap. But Andrew's not having any of it. It has a look to the inside, but oh, he actually is going for it. So Andrew's trying to take the place back off of Nick. He's on the outside.
I think Nick's going to clear him here.
Yeah, Nick will do it. But Andrew didn't want to give that one up, and you can't blame him. Wants to maintain every position you can, because points at the end of the season will be big.
Well, you know, we see it all the time in championships, whether it's real life driving or iRacing. You know, every point matters. So,
and of course, we haven't really discussed what these lads are out here racing for. I don't think we mentioned it at Daytona. So the winner of the class will receive a GT1L sim rig from RacingSimRigs. delivered to their door for winning this championship. So it's a prize that's worth in excess of £500. Oh, Nick!
Nick just got into the tire barrier at the exit of the last corner, upset the car.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if he's got any damage from that, but he definitely hit the tire barrier just a little bit. And Houston, he is all over him now, and he was for about the last half of that lap.
So Christian Furr's looking to capitalise on this as well. We get a replay here what Nick was doing. And I think he's just finding the limits of the car and the track there. Oh, he touches the curb.
Houston's going to get a run here. He's going to try and make a move.
So Nick touches the curb on the
outside. Too wide into the inner loop.
Well, that's not.
They both make it out cleanly.
Yeah,
this is really turning into a spicy battle here, though.
Yeah, Nick does not want to be falling back down the field after all the hard work he's put in. He's got to keep Andrew behind and hopefully get enough, or hopefully for him anyway, get enough of a room so he can break that toe. But whether he sustained any damage, doesn't look like he's got any damage. So he's, yeah, we can see a little bit there on the left corner of that. He's going to have a little bit of damage. Is it going to make a big difference to his aero speed? Only time will tell, but he's currently sitting in 7th position. And considering he put no real practice in and joined the series fairly late, I'm sure Nick will be kicking himself for that. Really, that's a bit of a shame if he has got any damage. It's going to have an effect to his race. But we've got a Ford
turned around.
We've got Ford doing Ford things again. Sam watched it. This car.
Jacob Schneider was turned around in the last corner as well.
So Jacob Schneider's turned around. Oh, Sam, yeah. Oh, and backs it into the barrier as well. Now that will, of course, damage to his car. Self-spin, as we said, the exit of that corner there really will try and bite you. As Jevon manages to do some avoiding. Oh, dear. I think that was Dean Timms as well, managed to avoid him. But Sam gets it facing back the right way. Finds himself right down the order in, I think, 25th overall. So he's off the timing board there, but he's 29th now, sorry. So he is actually stone dead last. He's Derek Dennis in front of him, Jevon Gunning. So, we've got Kenny Rodriguez, car 69, has had a spin in the bus stop chicane. Not too sure what happened there. Let's have a little look here. So he's going into the bus stop on the inside, covering off his line. So I think that's William Pace. He doesn't get a run. Goes in, touches the contact.
Oh.
Yeah. Not too sure where the blame would be proportioned there. I think Will had equal right to that apex, and unfortunately Kenny just clipped the back of the Porsche. Maybe thought he was clear to take the line, but Will was there and spins himself out. Manages to recover without too much damage to his race, though. And now we get back with the current action as he finds himself behind the 00 car of Jacob Schneider. Again, I don't think he would have sustained any real damage with that. It was only a very light brush, but definitely has had an impact as it drops him down a few spots in the order. We are with Daniel here as he comes through turn 1, heading up into the S's. Again, I wonder what sort of stuff Daniel can do. Daniel's just gets himself out of trouble, currently sitting P2 in the amateur field. So he's got Lydon lead behind him of only 2 seconds back. So Lydon probably be getting a bit of a toe. Sorry, just a second back, my apologies. They'll be getting a bit of a toe down there. And Lydon, one of the VRT drivers, as we've said before, VRT supports the RSR World Series, having 6 of their drivers in that championship. However, a lot of them are from Europe, and this lovely time of day at 1:38 a.m. for me, a lot of the English boys are being bedded up from that team. But Lydon is, I'm not too sure he is in America, but he's definitely on the East time zone. Perfect time to be out there running around, as he's maybe going to try and close up on the back of Daniel during the course of this race to take the second spot. Only time will tell if we do have just a little over 10 minutes, I want to say, remaining of this race. 60. Oh, apologies. What am I looking at here? I'm looking at the wrong thing. There, we've got 16 minutes left of this race, so he's got plenty of time to do a move as we approach the halfway mark of the race.
Yeah, we got a battle heating up for third overall here with James Howard and Gavin Boyette.
Yeah, no, we did discuss this. So if James really can let Gavin go and not have any effect to his own race, whether he wants to maintain as much as a gap as he possibly can, but he has pulled, I mean, what is 12 seconds?
Huge gap back to Daniel, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think James will be wanting to do anything to have a detrimental effect on his own race. I think he'd be quite happy just to let Gavin go if Gavin wants to make any moves. Would be the sensible thing. Gets a little bit of bumps through there, gets on the grass. Ooh, keep it together, James. No need to do anything.
He's really attacking it right now.
And he really doesn't need to be honest with you, unless he's just out there for his own lap time battle. But all he needs to do is keep it facing the right way with the shiny side up, and he will bring home a win, I believe. There's nothing. I don't think Daniel and Leiden are going to have much for him unless they find a sudden NOS button in the car or an extra amount of horsepower. But we see on board with Gavin looking at the back of James Howard. And again, no real point for these two to be battling each other, whether they do or not. It's their prerogative.
Yeah, it does look like James might be holding them up just a little bit, but it doesn't look like Gavin's really got the pace right now to really try and make a move. He's not close enough.
We see Gavin running onto the rumble strips there, which, it's only a very short rumble strip, and then it's grass after, and it's not a place where you want to be putting a wheel off because it will bite you. I did some testing in these cars throughout the week just to sort of get a feel for what's what around here, and I think the balance of the Porsche and the Corvette are actually very, very similar feeling. Well, they're not very similar feeling, but they're very similar in regards to their lap times. Porsche, obviously, very different configuration of car, engine in the back, power coming out the back, and Corvette's more of a mid-engine car, and you do kind of notice that. I think the Porsche actually is a mid-engine car. Originally, Porsche's always been rear engine, but they're both mid-engine cars. The RSR has that engine mounted sort of smack.
Yeah, they did shift that engine just a little bit forward for the RSR.
Yeah, but a very different configuration of the suspension. The Porsche has a lot more front end bounce.
Yep.
Which is just a characteristic of Porsches in general. If you've ever driven a real Porsche on the road, they do bunny hop along with the front end. And, I don't think Gavin's going to do anything over here as we're on with our Purple Warrior of Tom Mustakis. We had a 3 wide section here, and let's just see what happened. As we've got Tom, we've got Simon, and I'm not too sure who that is in the Corvette behind. It was Jacob Steiner and 00. As they put a move on Jacob, Jacob gets it all out of shape, arms everywhere there as he tries to keep the car placed in the correct way.
Yeah, that was almost 3 cars wadded up right there. That Ferrari was really out of shape going through, coming onto the backstretch there.
Simon Dodd, again, very little practice going into this, will be probably just be out there enjoying himself and just getting a feel for what his competition is and working out what to do. I believe Tom and Jacob are both pros. I think we've got Simon down as a pro, but Simon is an amateur. So he's doing the right thing there and just letting those two crack on with their battle without doing anything detrimental. But Tom's currently down in 17th, and off the top of my head, I think he is in 8th overall, or 8th in class, sorry. 16th overall, 8th in class. So again, he's going to be picking up a fistful of points, which he'll be quite happy with. As he comes up through the S's. Completely flat section of track. And in some cars, with maybe less downforce or less grip, can be a really hairy section of track when you're going up through there and walls are coming at you and stuff. But in a GTE with this level of downforce that these cars have got, quite nice and easy. Just keep your foot pinned and allow the aero to keep you all facing the right way.
Yeah, going up through there, you can't even think about going up through there in a NASCAR Cup car, full throttle. But in these cars, you're wide open all the way from the exit of turn 1 all the way to the entry of that bus stop there on the backstretch. So that bus stop really can be one of the best passing zones on the track.
Well, you get that good run down into it. You've got a long, big straight where you can really capitalise on getting a good, decent amount of toe to then line up a move. But it is a very single line section of track. There's only one line getting through there. So if you're too wide, it's a very big compromise on where you have to position the car, and it's very bumpy as well. So there's bumps on the entrance to it, and on the second of the left-handers, you've got a real decent amount of bumps there as well, which can upset that car massively as you try and get it positioned right for the right-hander into the carousel. And it's a very tricky section of the track, really. It probably doesn't do it justice on here as to just how bumpy it is and how much it can unbalance the car.
No. We got Jersey Glack closing back on Jeff Applegren here for the lead. He was actually about 3/10 faster than Jeff last time by. He hasn't let Jeff get away. But I've been watching Jeff's car for about the last, lap and a half here. And that car's attitude is very stable. It doesn't look like he's really pushing the car right now. Whereas, when I'm watching Jersey Glack here, he looks like he's not taking it easy. I wouldn't say he's pushing, all attack right now, but he's definitely not just hanging back.
Well, you can see it there as they come out of that right-hander, that Jeff was able to keep that car just tighter on the exit, maximising his speed down that little short shoot into this right-hander that drops away. Jersey ran the car out more to the left, meaning that he's trying to carry the speed through. Where we're seeing this differential in the lap times here will be ultimately that Jersey is falling off in the midsection, but then gaining that extra speed back in the toe of Jeff.
In the toe, yeah, coming up through the S's and down that straight there.
So through the infield section, Jeff is going to have the upper hand, and why he's able to maintain that is because he's quicker through the twisty section, like in the boot. But where Jersey's going to be able to gain a bit back is on the section
right through here. Yep.
Yeah, through here, where he's going to be getting the toe off the back of that car. It's going to be pulling him along. He's going to be hitting probably at least 5 mile/hour quicker into the braking zone. But he doesn't seem to, unfortunately, be utilising that addition. As we can see on that relative there, the time does come down by, you're talking a couple of tenths. He's able to pull back on Jeff through that section. And we get that DC down now to below 4/10 of a second, nearly 3/10 of a second, using that toe to just pull him through that section into the boot section. Oh, we got Lydon Lee, who has had an off. What's happened to Lydon? Last corner, pulls it through. Must be turn 1 or into the S's that he's had an issue. Let's just see here with the replay. Turn 1.
Looks like contact with another car at some point.
Oh, he gets it all out of shape there. Tries to rejoin back on. Oh, he's hit Daniel. And that is a race ender.
Oh, yep.
And again, the issue with what is turn 1 here is if you run out wide, it's very difficult to know where if there's another car on the racing line, you physically can't see them. So obviously Lydon's had to get back onto what would be the racing line to take the line up to the S's, but just had no idea he was there. So that's a shame. Lydon, unfortunately, won't be scoring anything in this round. As we can see a battle here.
On pit road.
Yeah, we can see a battle here between Simon Dodd and Greg Edney. That's a nice looking Corvette, what Greg's got there, quite unique. He's looking for a move. Oh, okay, all over the place. A little bit out of shape. But something happened to Nick. That's Dean. Yeah, forgive me, that's Dean Tim. So that is the other Clutch Racing car there. So, I thought that was Nick for a minute. I thought we'd really dropped back. So, we're on board now with Greg Edney as we go to Nick. So Nick, he's putting a move on Taylor. Taylor's having none of it. Fights back, keeps his position, as we've got Christian Furls all over the back of Nick Meltner as well. So what happened here? So Nick gets the run. Taylor's on the right hand side, blocking off the line. Nick goes outside, tries to put a move in, just can't do it, but they do get very close to each other. And I wonder who's going to come out well on here. Well, Taylor's managed to pull quite a good chunk back over Nick. So obviously Nick having a compromised line through the bus stop chicane. Taylor would have been on the optimum line with the inside because he can get the run through.
Being on the outside there, going into the bus stop, you're really putting yourself in a compromised position because that car that's on the inside has to come back to the left in order to make that bus stop. And, don't always necessarily know that you're clear. So, there's a good chance of contact there going in side by side like that.
It is a risky manoeuvre, but I'm sure Nick, well, he's well within the draft here because there's only a very small gap between the two cars. So Nick's going to try and get the perfect line out of this corner, get up through the S's, and go again with that sort of move. Looks like he got well through there. Christian runs out a little bit wide, managed to get it back in. So we've got a three-way battle here for what is 5th overall. Will be 4th in class. So he's coming up through the S's. What sort of run will he get? He's too far back to launch anything this time, surely.
Yeah, just kind of follows them in there.
Follows him through, but he is close on him. And I believe Taylor and Nick, I've actually competed in a 24-hour charity race for both of these drivers that you're looking at here, Taylor Lane and Nick Feltner. We did it in the BMW M8, and it was pretty awful. Nick was good, I was awful. Taylor did really well. But yeah, we raised some serious money for. I think one of the drivers had a very close relative have an issue with it. I think it was meningitis. We were raising money for them, and we raised nearly £2,000. So it was a good event. Mix of GTE and GT3 cars on track at the same time. We left with some very interesting racing around there. But yeah, these are two. I'd say these are friends on and off the track, really. So I don't think Nick could be doing anything to jeopardise Taylor Lane's race. I think they've got a lot of mutual respect for each other, and yeah, I think they'll be going for it because, as all racing drivers are, or sim racing drivers are, they want to do as best as they can, but they shouldn't be doing anything to jeopardise each other's race. Shouldn't be, hopefully. But they are line astern as they come down into turn 1, and Christian Furs would just be sat at the back there in that Porsche, just maybe hoping for a mistake, maybe hoping for these two guys to start getting into the throws with each other, and hopefully then Christian will be able to, I'm sure in his own head, capitalise on any mistakes that happen. But he does have a run here, does Nick? He's got the run again. What can he do with it? He's on the outside. Is he going to clear him? Oh, that is close. He's cleared him. He gets the move done around the outside, but Taylor Lane comes back on the outside on the exit of the bus stop, gets it on the grass. It's a shame that he got it on the grass there because he would have had something for Nick. Now what they're going to do is they come down into the left-hander. Taylor's on the outside. He's potentially going to lose a spot here to Christian Furs as well, as Christian's going to be on the outside. Christian lets him slot into place without any issues there. But some good racing, some good respect from these drivers there to give each other just enough room so there wasn't any contact. We do have a car around. William Paisley has had an incident at the bus stop chicane. So what's happened to Will as we see him come down into the bus stop? My money is he's hit some of those bumps wrong and it's just ate him up and spat him back at you. Bump, bump, bump. Oh dear. That's what I mean. There's a line through there, and if you put your car on it, it's going to lead into one thing, and it's either going to be hitting the wall on the inside or the outside. It's going to upset it massively. So we've got a battle further on down the field with the second of the Eclipse racing cars. So Nick Melton's teammate here, got Simon Dodd, we've got Greg Edney and Dean, and lock up, bit of contact. Greg's off, gets it back, gathered up, and we've got the recovering James Costa there, taking advantage of the situation, coming through from his first lap shenanigans. But what happened to Greg Edney here? I think he goes
a little bit of contact with Simon, and it got the car upset coming out of that corner there.
Simon locks a wheel up, goes back to his line, and there we see just a bump off the back, puts him on the grass, and he does drop Loses 3 places there, which is a small mistake, and cost him that. It wasn't really his mistake, to be fair. I think Simon did shut that door a little bit. Maybe thought he was clear, but he certainly wasn't, unfortunately. Now, Greg's going to be trying all he can to get back on these guys. Dean Timms all over the back of Simon Dodd. These two are teammates in the RSR World Series. Not teammates out there at the minute, though, as Dean is looking all over the back of Simon. See what sort of move he can pull. He's a bit too far back to do anything into this left-hander, or probably up here, but I mean, as I guess, if he keeps his nose clean, he's going to have a good run down the start-finish line into what will be turn 1 if he can get on the back of that Ferrari. Ferrari always has the issue of random brakes, I felt, when I was doing my testing this week. I think when you hit the brake pedal, it's always a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, which way the car's going to go. It kind of never goes exactly where you want it to go. But Simon seems to have got it feeling all right here, because he's holding off Dean Timms, runs out wide. Bit of damage on the front of that Ferrari. Covers the line off, doesn't let Dean get any gain. But there's a guy who's going to be wanting to maximise on anything that he can. That's James Costa after his first lap excursion to the gravel track in the bus stop.
Hey guys, are we on the white flag lap here?
We are on the white flag lap, so this is going to be...
And you got the leader, Jeff Applegren. He's going through lap traffic right now through the carousel. Jersey Glack's only about 2.5 car lengths behind him. They both clear that car.
There's about half a second between these two guys. And again, I just don't think Jersey's got anything for Jeff. I think he's just too far back, but there's only, I think there's 6 points, 5 points in between these two positions. Jersey's thinking of the championship. You can't blame him. It's not going to be won tonight. It's not going to be won next week, but keep plucking away. And unfortunately, Jeff, with that penalty from Daytona losing that race win, this here will probably put Jersey Glack top spot in the championship. So we can see Jeff Applegreen comes across the line, weaving himself, and he takes the win for race 1 of round 2 in the RSR American GTE Series. James Howard keeps Gavin Boyett behind him as they cross the line. And keeps thinking about it. Oh, what happened there? I mean, did he let him go?
James just came over the radio and said he apologized to Gavin that he ran out of gas there at the end.
Wow. So James ran out of fuel. Well, he timed that absolutely bang on perfect. If that was a position, he'd be kicking himself. But there we go. We've seen some fantastic racing from these guys. That battle there between Dick Veltner, Taylor Lane and Christian Furs was brilliant. They really... They did seriously well. Taylor Lane's just come on the radio say he was struggling with straight line speed. But, they did super well with that. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. You know, I really shouldn't be surprised at this point, but the level of clean competition that we have, you know, in this series thus far has really amazed me.
They're all really good. They're really, really good drivers. I think they've got a lot of respect for each other at such an early part of the season. And long may it continue. As long as we keep seeing this level of respect off these guys, that is exactly what we want. As we go through, I will leave Casey to call out your race results here. Well, over to you, mate.
All right. So as we mentioned, Jeff Applegren taking the win in race 1 of the night here. Jersey Glack finishing about 7/10 behind. Was all over the back of them there pretty much the entire race, but just didn't have enough pace to get up to the back of him there. James Howard, your amateur winner, bringing it home 3rd overall. Gavin Boyett finishes 4th. Nick Voltener comes home in 5th. 6th place, Taylor Lane. 7th place, you got Christian Furs. 8th, Andrew Hewson. Again, as we mentioned earlier, battling those medical issues and probably in a bit of discomfort. 9th place, Steven Martinez. And rounding out your top 10 was Jacob Schneider, recovering from that spin that he had earlier in the race in the last corner. 11th place was Daniel Tenorio. 12th place, you got Kyle Fredrickson. 13th was Tom Mastakis. He did a nice job coming up through the field. He qualified just about dead last. So 14th, Eric Calaga. 15th, Kenny Rodriguez. 16th was Matt Balthazar. And 17th was Simon Dodd. Dean Timms, 18th. Michael Calaga in 19th. And rounding out the top 20 was Greg Edney. Spec Welch, we seen have that incident earlier on, finishes 21st. James Costa recovered to 22nd. William Paisley finishes up 23rd. Sam Lear, 24th. Derek Dennis, 25th. And the last car on the lead lap was Jevin Gunning. John Casey finishes up 27th. 28th, 4 laps down, was Wart Paul. And Lyden Lee, 6 laps down in 29th.
So we have our random grid number, and it is number 23. So that will put William Paisley into pole position for this next round, with a recovering drive from James Costa on the outside of that first row. So we're going to get this grid all sorted for you, and we will be back with racing in just a little over 10 minutes, I think.
So what do you think, guys? Was that good, or was
Yeah,
that good?
I enjoyed that.
That was good.
They were wicked. They just we're not live, are we?
You're still live?
We're still live. Okay,
Yeah.
well, because I
It's a
kept the
lot.
P's and Q's nice there. Yeah, well, there was a very. I tell you what, that is one thing, because you had a very honest opinion there, because I don't think I was live. So, in saying that they did well is a genuine thing. A lot of respect. Drivers just doing what they're meant to do, not driving into each other, not doing anything silly. Just great, good stuff. So, I love it. Fantastic.
What was your guys' highlight of the race?
Ooh,
I think Nick Veltner and Taylor Lane having that real fisticuff battle.
yeah.
That was some tasty work from those two guys.
Yeah, that was a really good battle there. Andrew Houston gave Nick a pretty good run for his money there for a couple laps too. I think that was a really good battle there until Nick was able to pull away from him. Andrew did not want to let him go.
Yeah, and when we were working hi everybody, the stream can hear me now. Robert O'Brien, Raidillon TV owner here, and the cameraman for this race and for all the races for the RSRAS. I think one of the greatest things that I saw on the track was the close racing that Nick had with Taylor Lane, and then just seeing Furs in the background just trying to sneak in just a little wincy poo of a battle himself, because he kind of just wanted, as you were saying yourself, Harry, he just wanted to be able to sneak up when they were least expecting it and just nab the 2 positions if they could.
He was there lying in wait.
Yep, just waiting for either one of them to make a mistake, have a little bit of contact, get by one of them, maybe even both of them if they both ended up off track. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we are nearly done with the reverse grid, just setting everything up now to get back to racing. But the big job that we're going to see is just what James Howard is going to do, because it does put a massive amount of pros in front of him. And there's one thing being out and out speed and being up there on your own, but it's one thing trying to carve your way through a field of drivers who are looking to capitalise on this reverse grid. And that's a big number to have 23 drivers ahead of him, and a lot of them are going to be full class. So it's going to be interesting for him.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting for James. Going to be interesting for Jeff and Jersey as well. Those two guys, clearly the class of the field in race 1, and they're going to have to deal with a lot of traffic now. So it's going to be interesting to see, are they going to try and charge through the field, maybe get that win again, or are they just going to kind of take it a little easier at the beginning?
From my perspective, seeing the 2 of them race now at Daytona and at Watkins, I think realistically speaking, the faster of the two of them is actually probably Jeff. But it depends on where on the track layout. I think Jeff just edges out just a little bit, just a very little bit. But if
I think what I'm seeing out of Jeff is a little more consistency. He's very quick, but with really good consistency, and he's patient. He's got a lot of patience.
Exactly. I think Jeff has a lot more thoroughbred racecraft behind him, but you know, neither of them are slouches. Let's just put it out there. Neither of them are slouches.
No, absolutely not. There's not much between them at all.
It's just the little things. I think at that point when you're so close together, it's the little things that you have to point out.
Yeah, and really, you know, especially when you're talking about racing over half an hour, those are the things that matter, is those little things when you're talking about a 7/10 of a second gap, you know, between the two of them. It's those little things that add up. So,
and a lot of it comes down to when, like, if this was a 3-hour race and two of them were going at it, for instance, instead of 30 minutes, it would have been 3 hours. I think you would have just seen them just continue to go at it, like, and just try and keep going, try and squeeze every inch out of each other. I think they would have just worn themselves out, worn the tires out at the end of it.
Yeah. And it goes back to what I mentioned, you know, during the broadcast or during the race. I was just watching the attitude of Jeff's car. A lot more stable. He looked like he wasn't really pushing the car as hard as he could. Looked like he was kind of just doing just what he needed to just to stay in front. But when I was watching Jersey, you know, he was pushing. He wasn't trying to hang around. So
a lot of it comes down to discipline at that pace as well. So as Jeff just mentioned in the chat, he said he prides himself in having those kinds of things. So
So the session is now up. Race 2 is live. These guys have got a 10-minute practice to get themselves in and get themselves sorted for race 2. As we speak of that, I'm joining myself, and this one's gonna be a bit more tricky. It's a much higher number I think we've got on the reverse grid for 20. The 23rd will be in P1. And obviously up from there, 22nd P2, 21st on from there. So it's going to be quite an interesting sort of field, should we say, of reversed grid. And this is really going to set these boys to having to race against people that they wouldn't naturally race against in regards to their out-and-out pace. So let's see what we've got here. And again, looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a really interesting race today. Really interesting series. Is heating up quite nicely. So,
absolutely. I'm really looking forward to this second race here. This one's going to be the one that's going to be interesting. You got all these guys that finish up at the front of the field, and now all of a sudden you're throwing them right into the heat of the battle. So, you throw them in the back there, anything can happen. This is where you really got to have patience. You really got to watch what you're doing, watch the cars around you. Know who you're racing against. You know, is it somebody you can go into that corner side by side with, or are you going to have to watch and kind of back out of it and wait for a better opportunity? So those are some of the things, you know, if I'm Jeff or if I'm, you know, Jersey, those are some of the things I'm already thinking about now.
Trying how you see you get through your field and just hope and pray.
Absolutely. Yeah, and really, I mean, it's you go down into turn 1, and it's going to be all about where you come out. So,
because I mean, turn 1 in Watkins Glen it's
tricky.
It's tricky.
It is. You got that wide open run downhill, and then everybody just starts stacking up once they put the brakes on.
Wasn't it NASCAR one year when they ran here? They just at turn one, everybody just collectively had a oh no moment.
Oh, it happens all the time. It's almost every year. Almost every year you see at least one good pile up there at either at turn one or somewhere up in the S's. So
going up the hill, yeah.
Because they fan out going through turn one, and then they kind of funnel, down to 1 or 2 wide, and they try and go up through the S's, and those cars aren't, they have almost no downforce to speak of whatsoever. So it gets very interesting going up through there.
So let's have a little prediction from all three of us. Who is going to take this one?
Oh, I'll let you take first pick.
I'm probably going to say, if I could put my money where my mouth was, whoever's in P4 gets the win at the start of the race.
I think I'm going to go with Nick. I think Nick is...
That's a good shout.
So,
yeah, I don't see starting, inverting 23 cars. I don't know if Jersey or Jeff are going to be able to come up through the field. I definitely think they'll probably be somewhere in the top 5, but I don't know if they'll have enough time to get back up to the lead. So that's going to be, yeah, I think Nick is, that's a strong...
I think Nick's the man here. So, I mean, let's just see, where is Nick going to be starting in this one? Let's just have a little check in, see where we got to in regards to the starting order. What are we going to be seeing? Where is Nick going to be starting from? Let's have a look at the results from that one. So let's have a look here. So we have that. So Nick is going to be starting. We do a quick bit of maths here. Nick is actually going to be starting in, I think that'll be 17th, but he'll be starting above Jersey Black and Jeff Applegreen. So it's, I don't know actually, you know what? Do I rescind that? Who else in front of him there is, who else ahead of him here is going to be quick? We've got Jacob Schneider to hang around, Andrew Hewson we saw in a fairly good position. There's going to be some quick boys in front of them. I mean, William Paisley, we said, William's not a slow boy. He'll get the job done, and same as James Costa as well. So he'll be getting, James got the pace, but can he handle the Ford, which is going to be the car. If he doesn't finish his race, I don't think it'll be his driving, it'll be the Ford that will kill him.
Yeah, James is definitely a solid driver, but I don't know if he fully thought it through when he decided to go with the Ford for the series.
I think the Ford has got I think the Ford just handles bumps bad. So I think the Ford in the section here, as we can see, Sam Lira just
pounded the tire barrier.
He just didn't think about the brake pedal there. I think he just thought for the King in glory, I think. But yeah, it's. I think it was wicked. Yeah, Taylor Lane. Are we still live? We are. Brilliant. Yeah, so we'll see what sort of racing brings out here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's really too tough for me to actually make a call as to who I think is going to win because, like I said, especially with the fast guys starting that far back, absolutely anything can happen. You know, you get a good pile up in turn 1 or in the S's, and now you're looking at a totally different race, you know, even than what we've seen at Daytona. So,
as Simon Dodge just put in the Discord chat, I'm struggling to stay awake here, so if you see me spear into a wall, you know I've fallen asleep at the wheel. To be fair, it's 2:15 in the morning, and I think what's a testament to how good the racing was, it's we're still seeing these boys having a go out there, which is great to see. Christian Furr's an English guy. We've seen seeing a lot of people from this side. I think Nick, I will have to check. I don't want to say he's from somewhere, but I have a feeling he's from Belgium, I think.
it'll be even later there for them, won't it?
Maybe an hour ahead, yeah. I think it'd be on for 3 o'clock. I think they're an hour ahead of GMT. So we should have a look here and just see host. Let's just see where Nick Felt was from. So let's have a look to see where Nick is from. I don't think we've lost anybody. I think we've still got all the guys out there that are racing in race 1 out on track, I believe. Yeah, Nick is with us. Let's see just have a look where Nick's from. So let's see. Nick Valtner is. He is. I believe he is Belgium. So he's. He's an hour ahead of me. So it's going to be quite early in the morning for him.
That's commitment right there.
Yeah. I think he'll do well here. I think he's going to be ahead of, Jeff Applegreen and Jersey Glack. I think he's got the pace for those lads, and I think, bear in mind, he's had very limited practice going into this race.
Well, yeah, he did a really good job coming up through the field there, through the entire course of that race. So, like I said, I think that's a pretty good pick.
So we're just going to put a quick message out to the drivers, and you there who's watching the stream are going to hear it. So let's just put a quick message out to these guys. So fantastic racing in race 1, guys. Really, really well done. Just keep it nice and clean on the start of this one, and keep it clean up to the S's. It's fantastic that we didn't see any major mistake up there. Same again on this, guys. Absolutely brilliant. If there is an issue going up through those S's on lap 1, we will be throwing the safety car. So just please keep your eye out for that if something does happen. If you do see the safety car come out, then just bear in mind there will be an accident up ahead of you, so act accordingly. Keep it clean, have fun. So that's a message to all the drivers that you heard yourself there, to keep it nice and tidy.
Yep, hopefully we see the same level of respect here that we saw in race 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are all on the grid, and that pace car leads these boys away onto their formation lap. Fantastic grid of cars, and I think one thing we've got this perfect number of cars, which is good to see. We've not got, if we had anything around the 20 mark, it'll get a bit too strung out. If we had any more, you're kind of borderline in that world of them being a bit of chaos, you know what I mean? So if we saw, if we had 40 odd guys or plus, but in saying that, I think with the level of standards that we've got and the respect between all the drivers out there, I think you could probably go with 40 or 50 plus drivers and then still be okay. I think they're doing a fantastic job of keeping themselves clean. And there's not, I'll be honest here, if there's not one driver in that field so far that stings out to me and goes, he's a bit of a danger, he's a bit of a hazard. I think there's that respect where none of them are over driving the car. They're not trying too hard, too early, or anything like that. They're just doing exactly what they should be doing. And yeah, it's good racing. It's exactly what we want to see. We want to see good racing. We want to see these guys having a good time, and I think everybody's enjoying it because we've seen it before. Unfortunately, in RSR World Series, where the racing maybe not has gone as well as we'd hoped in the first race, so we've ended up seeing a few dropouts into race 2, and we haven't seen that here. So we've got all the guys who took the green flag in race 1 out to compete in race 2. And this again is another 30-minute race. So no pit stops required. They will make it on fuel, but they will have to run these cars really heavy. We have a 75% fuel structure. So they are only allowed to put 75% of a full tank in. So these guys will be running the cars really heavy on the start, which obviously affects the handling of the car. It affects obviously the braking of the car. And it's going to be... it's going to be interesting, but it's a bit cooler out there, so we are running this in in the setting sun. Track time out there at the minute is 15:08. Track temp is 27 degrees Celsius, and wind has calmed down from race 1. So I think we're going to see some tasty racing. Track usage is still on 50%. So the track has got the same sort of grip down on it, but I think that track is a little bit cooler than what it was in race 1. So a little bit more grip for these boys to play with, and James Costa inevitably will probably need that, unfortunately, in the death machine up there.
Yeah, and Watkins Glen is definitely a track that is temperature sensitive. So
very much so.
I experienced that myself. Running the iRacing 6 hours of the Glen. The heat of the day, this place gets really slick. But once that sun starts setting, track really grips up nicely.
So pace car peels off, and we have a green flag for race 2 as they shoot down into turn 1. There's a bit of an issue at the back. There's cars are all out of place, but they all are facing the right way as they go up through into the S's, and this is the bit that we are a little nervous about. So let's just hope these guys can make it through the S's nice and clean. They are nearly 4 wide. Oh dear, 3 wide. Wow. Now this is what we're reverse grid racing makes for here, as these guys are going to be trying their hardest to get through with 3 wide going into the bus stop.
Oh.
Geez, Jersey Glack on the inside just makes it through. That is some close stuff, but my God, they are all facing the right way. That, I've got to say,
that was incredible.
For the last 30 seconds, my heart's in my mouth there. I was expecting to see cars poking out of barriers and all sorts, but they all make it through. They all make it through, which is fantastic. James Costa drops down the order a little bit, finds himself in 4, so he's lost 2 positions to Greg Edney, Spec Welch. William Paisley is your lead man at the minute. He's out ahead of everybody.
Jersey Glack wasting absolutely no time here, going for a move on the inside of Eric Kalaga.
So Eric Kalaga has dropped back a little bit there, I think. Oh, we've got a car around. That is a Porsche. It's just hit the barrier.
Bad spot too, right at the exit of that corner.
That is a bad spot, but they all miss him well. And that there, who is that? That is Matt, I believe. So Matt's had an off coming out of that, coming back onto what is the NASCAR turn, and he's got himself all out of shape. So what does he do here? Yeah, it's out of shape. Snaps one way, misses the barrier on the left. Contact. Yeah, that's going to have an effect on the straight line speed of that car, unfortunately. So damage limitation from him from here. We'll see what sort of he can do. But we've got Jersey Glack, Gavin Boyer, I believe, and Christian Furs. 2 wide into the bus stop, side by side, 2 Porsches. Oh, Christian, no! Is he going to miss he misses the barrier, he gets the jump. Is that going to have given him any damage to the underneath of that car? We really hope not. It was all his own doing there a little bit. I think Gavin left him plenty of room. We see a replay of this now. Gets on the bumps. Yeah, he gets on the bumps, runs out wide. Does so well to miss that barrier, because that would have been a race-ending incident if he'd have clipped that. So we've got some more checkups here as well. Let's go! Jeff Applegreen is just out of the race. Oh, there's cars around everywhere. There's still cars spinning. Oh my God, what's happened back there? Is that James Howard?
Jevin Gunning. He's rolling away in the Corvette.
Jevin Gunning.
Matt Balthazar.
So what happened here? Jevin Gunning.
Jeff Applegreen's car is crabbing. He parks it.
He touches Christian Furs. Christian Furs goes around. Now these two, a little bit of beef from Daytona. Jeff gets a clump there. He moves to the left and he touches.
Oh man.
Oh dear, and then Matthew spins it out, takes Jevin with him, Sam Leary nowhere to go. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, it didn't happen on lap 1, it happened on lap 2, but they are all still out there. Now that is good.
And the race ender for Jeff was he had a little bit of contact with Steven Martinez, and that's what sent him into that barrier.
And Jeff Applegreen is out of the race. Oh dear. That's a shame.
That's going to be a big shake-up in the points there.
Yeah. Now this is where Jersey Black is going to, and the other pros as well, Taylor Lane, everybody else who are very close to Jeff in the points, is going to be trying to capitalise on this. What a shame. But that is the nature of this sort of racing, reverse grid racing. You're going to have slow boys, fast boys, and the quick boys just need to pick the moments. As we've got a car, what's that? Is that Spec Welch or
Gavin Boyette?
Yeah, Gavin Boyette just running out
wide.
Sure
there was contact there, or if he just got upset going into that corner, but
he just grabbed the brake and it spat him back left, and he's dropped back. See, one little mistake like that caused you massively, and it's affected his race. He drops him back 2 or 3 spots there, but he's on the back of Jersey Glatt, and I'm sure he's going to want to be sticking to the back of Jersey Glatt because Jersey's not the slow boy.
Looks like Jersey just kind of taking his time, just waiting for the opportunity to make the move.
Oh, Stephen Martinez in the barrier coming back onto the NASCAR cup layout there. So what happens here? He's got a bit of damage on that car already. Goes into the left-hander. And a little bit of a moment there, but then he actually did really well. They got that car locked down, locked the brakes up, made sure that I don't think he even touched the barrier, and if he did, it was very minor.
He kind of slid into it just a little bit, but that could have been a lot worse than what it was.
Oh, William Paisley has had an off, and that car, rear suspension damage. What happened to him here?
Looks like he's going through the bus stop, was side by side with Spec Welch, and it looks like William just lost it at the exit. I don't know if that was Nick.
No, it's contact between the two guys, and William slams into the side. Oh, fault? I don't know. I don't know who's to blame it. Oh, dear.
Oh, man.
That's 2 drivers fighting for the same bit of tarmac, unfortunately.
They did make some contact in the middle of the bus stop, but I don't think that's what wrecked William there. It looks like, he looks like the back of the car just stepped out coming out of the bus stop.
But what sort of damage has he got? Is that car crabbing? It doesn't look very happy. It's crabbing bad. The suspension's out yet. Look at
the back of the car is all over the place. He's fighting that car now.
Yeah, that's a trip to the pits, I think.
And there he goes.
Yep, he's bringing it in. So I'm sure there'll be a guy lined up with a big lump hammer to knock the rear suspension back out, but that's probably going to take a bit of time to get that car back turned around and out, unfortunately. Whoa, we've seen some casualties in this one. I think this has been the most, what's the word? I was going to say exciting, but exciting for some of the wrong reasons, I think, race that we've had so far this season.
Yeah, but that's what this reverse grid breeds,
It really does. It really does, unfortunately. So we see guys coming up through the S's on the back of, I believe that's the second, it's the second place Ford, but it isn't second place on track. And I believe Daniel, that's Daniel there getting through on Eric Kaluga. This is going to be a race now where Christian Furs, Jersey Glack, Taylor Lane, Nick Feltner have all got to capitalise, unfortunately, on Jeff Applegreen's demise, really. Unfortunately, that's a horrible thing to say, but it really is.
Yeah, and that could have big implications on the championship overall, too. Taking a DNF this early in the season, that's really going to shake things up, and that's going to be hard to come back from, because both of those guys have been finishing every race towards the front of the field.
You can see Jersey Glack here and Andrew Hewson. Andrew did send me a message to say you won't be taking part in race 2. And then sent me another message to say he's in for round 2, so obviously the whiskey's kicking in there.
Yeah.
He's doing well, you know. He's 9th place. He's going to be, what is that? It's going to be 6th overall? Or 6th overall?
Oh, we're going to have a 3 wide. Oh.
What's happening here?
Kevin Boyette thought about taking it 3 wide into turn 1, thought better of it.
Jersey Glack would have been the filling in that sandwich if it was to happen. But again, doing all the right things. And Andrew's doing a cracking job in keeping that car out there, and not only keeping it out there, but he's keeping it in 6th or 5th in class, should I say? So
yeah, he's doing a really good job.
It is. You see the 2 Eclipse racing cars there. So you've got Dean Timms and Nick Valtanier. Nick's down. I think that would be 8th in class. Let's have a look. 8th in class, 12th overall.
Jersey Glack's got a run on Andrew here. Yeah. Not really able to make anything happen on the outside.
It's not a corner that you got anything on the outside, but if you do, as what Jersey's doing right now, if you can compromise on your exit, you can get on the inside and get a good run down into this next right-hander as Jersey makes a look, leaves his... Yeah, he's there. Yeah, Andrew does the right thing. Oh, he's on the grass. Andrew, what are you doing?
Hang on to it, buddy.
Yeah, that's a shot of whiskey too many there, I think.
Yeah, it looks like he was trying to race Jersey to the corner there and just kind of got in just a little too deep.
It's a very narrow, it's quite a sharp exit. It's as if that corner comes back on itself a little bit. So it is it's an exit that's a bit unpleasant. But now behind Andrew there is Dean Timms and then Nick Valtanier. Sorry.
I move up inside, and it looks like he's not even going to fight him.
Bit of team orders there. There we go. Team orders. Let me go. I'm quicker than you. There's Nick. Now we'll be looking to put some gap between the couple of AM drivers behind him, so we don't have anything there. I think that's James Howard in the background looking for a move on Dean Timms. Is Dean going to make his life easy? No. Sticks on to it, but does run out wide. Compromises his exit. Now, can James do anything with it? Flash of the lights. I'm here. I'm quick. Let me by. But as we know, that's just a gestatory warning. It doesn't mean that you can then go and take the spot. So, as we see, James is looking. There's not a lot of room there. Dean positions the car smack in the middle of the road. Covers off his line. Got every right to do it. These guys are in class, fighting for position. So, and they are fighting, I believe, for what is 5th.
Dean.
What's happened? Let's have a look.
Dean spun it.
Oh, Dean.
And he's in a bad spot right here.
Oh, Jesus. There's cars everywhere.
There he goes. Now he's a little bit safer spot now.
He did the right thing. Hold the brakes. You always hold your brakes. You do not do anything silly, but what's he going to do here? What happened here? So Dean gets himself into the braking zone. Too quick. Too much going in there. Lapse of concentration halfway around. Tries to get it spun around, but then he sees cars coming down at him. Is he going back? He's going back. Oh, there's go. I have been in that position in the real world, in a real racing car on a track, and I can tell you now, it's terrifying.
That's got to be one of the scariest things.
Eric Kaluga has a spin as well. Was that contact? Little shot in the back there. Bit naughty. But he just manages to make it round Dean Timms, only to get mullered in the next corner, which is...
Oh, yeah, Kyle definitely got in the back of him there.
Yeah.
Kyle Frederick.
But again, that's just a combination of... You've got a car there, you've got different exit speeds out of that corner, what's happening, and...
Excuse me, pardon me, coming through.
Yeah, exactly. I'm here, and I'm coming through, so... Well, this definitely is the spicier race of the two, I think. We got
absolutely
many different battles going on. Lydon Lee probably looking to try and make the most of what's going on, considering his demise in the first race where it had that off. But he's found himself in a little sandwich of other Corvettes here. Got some smoke up ahead. Is that just a lock brake? It is, yeah. Oh dear. Real shake-up in the points, so...
Oh, absolutely. You know, and all this going on behind Spec Welch, we haven't even really mentioned Spec Welch, but he's kind of set sail. He's got almost a 6.5 second lead. Taylor Lane's worked his way up to 4th. And then you got Jersey Glack sitting back there in 6th. So those guys are coming up, but it's going to be a tall order to try and close that gap to Spec.
Let's have a little look. Taylor Lane, big long queue of cars behind him, holding himself. Oh, we've got a car in the barrier in front of him though. Who is that? Oh no! Oh, that's death. Yeah, that's... Oh dear. Yeah, that's a Corvette spaceship, new model there, unfortunately. Oh, what a shame, Jesus. So that there is, I think that's Kelly going off, parks it smack in the middle of the road, nowhere to go. Tom Moustakis just... Oh dear. Yeah. Oh dear. Oh dear. Where's it all going wrong in this one? Oh dear. So anyway,
yeah, everything went too smooth in race 1.
We'll get the ambulance crews out there with the mop to get those drivers up. So, and then get back to racing. Unfortunately, because that was a very unpleasant accident, and he probably would have cleared about 30 foot in the air there. He's probably got a nosebleed. He was up so high.
Yeah.
So we got Daniel and Carl Frederick. That was a brown trouser moment if you ever saw one. Car on his outside, all opposite lock in the braking zone, on 2 wheels on the grass. Everything you don't want. Daniel here gets a very compromised run out the corner. Let's have a look at the wheel inputs. Okay, he gets himself onto the apex. Breaks loose. Lydon gives him a little tap. Any more than that, he would have been sent around. Well, we always say it's good driving to make the save, but, you know, put the car in a position in the first place. You have to be a very good driver to get yourself out of it. But
yeah, Lydon moves over and lets Jacob go.
Yeah, has he got a slowdown? It was a too wide through there. I believe it's Lydon drops back behind. Very, very close there to being another big pile-up, to be fair, because if Lydon would have gone into the back of him with any sort of speed, it would have been good night Vienna.
Yeah.
So we've got Jacob Schneider and Daniel as they come down into the latter section of the boot here. And I think these guys line astern. Not going to make any sort of move there. I think Jacob Schneider is the pro. So
he moves up along the inside. Looks like maybe he's going to let him go. Yeah, he does.
Yeah. So Daniel doing the right thing there. Not a class battle. No point in getting themselves tripped up over each other. It's not going to achieve anything. We've got the rear glass, or they've got the engine cover missing off the back of that Corvette. So what's that going to be doing? We've got Warwick Paul. We haven't said anything about Warwick. Warwick is a new driver to the championship. He's in that Porsche just ahead here. There he is. So he's in another Eclipse racing car. So 3-car entry from the Eclipse boys. 2 Corvettes and a Porsche. So his teammates Nick Valtner and Dean Timms. So handsome looking skins they are. I think we might have a little award at the end of the season for the best turned out car, and those do look the business.
I like that techie.
It's busy, isn't it? There's a lot going on there, but they do look decent. We've only got 10 minutes left of this race, but I want to get onto this battle up ahead between James Costa and Greg Edney. Let's have a little look at what's going on there, because those guys, there's only half a second between James Costa and Greg Edney. And whether James Costa is going to do any sort of move on Greg, I believe James is in a quicker car. So James Costa and Greg Edney are coming through the last section of the track. We're still on with this battle between Jacob Schneider, Lydon Lee. So here we go. Costa is making the mirrors full of the Corvette ahead. Has a look. Not going to do it from that far back. Get yourself in line.
He's got a good run out of turn 1, though. He's going to have a good run coming up through the S's and down this straight.
And the Ford's not slow in a straight line here, and because of its very low aerodynamic drag, it can tuck right up on the back of the bigger car of the Corvette. Is he going to put a move in?
Yeah.
Is he going to put a move in? He's thinking about it. He's looking. He's looking. He's on the brakes. He does not put the move in. Backs out of it. Probably got some sort of PTSD going through that bus stop from race 1, so I don't think he wants to do anything silly through there. But we still have 10 minutes of this race left, so plenty of time for a move for the lead of AM. And we've got James Howard down in 3rd position with Michael Kaluga behind him, but Michael was probably too far back, 4 seconds back to be trying anything. So these really are your star AM drivers that you're looking at, these two. As long as James Costa can keep it shiny side up and facing all in the right direction, he's going to be on for a definite podium here. Maybe even a race win if he can put something on Greg Edney. Costa's car there, sponsored by Jackhammer. Anyone knows what Jackhammer is? You probably don't, but that is the name of the band that me and him both play in. So that's what's on the side of that car. I'm not going to embarrass myself by sending out any videos, don't worry. So Gavin Boyett and Taylor Lane, 2 pros, even though we've got AM written all over the front of Taylor's car, very misleading there. 2 Porsches, very clean cars, don't think they've had any contact or any damage. What can these boys do? I think Gavin's just a bit far back to be trying anything on Taylor at this stage. But I think the last lap from Gavin, 143.073. Last lap from Taylor, 143.015. 2 1,000ths of a second between the 2 drivers. That is an equal as equal gets, I believe. They come down into the bus stop chicane. Gavin not really putting anything in on Taylor. Gets a better exit.
Really drove it down deep into the carousel there. Didn't lose a whole lot on exit either, though.
No, he did well. You can see from this camera angle here a different line. Gavin takes a more, trying to get a bit more speed on the entry of the corner. Taylor's thinking about the exit, does it right. Taylor using the sort of cut-back approach into this right-hander, which is a very quick line. Probably should pull a 10th or 2 going down into this extra right-hander. As you can see, Taylor's just moving on up the road because he gets the better exit out of the corner. You can see 2 different driving styles here. Gavin's thinking about corner entry, Taylor's thinking about corner exit. But ultimately, the 2 are very well matched to each other with the lap times that they're pulling in. So we'll have a little look at what sort of lap times they do as they cross the line here shortly, providing they can make it through this final turn all in one piece. And they do. So let's just have a look at the lap time of Taylor Lane. Taylor Lane manages to do a 1:42.990. Gavin did a 1:43.086 as James Costa doing the right thing, letting these pros through. Does it well, gets well out of the way.
He pulled over on the front stretch and just let Jersey Glack go. So now Jersey Glack moves up to 3rd place overall.
Yeah.
And he is quickly closing in on the back of Greg Edney here.
Well, your lead pro of Spec Welch did a 1:43.1. Jersey Glack 1:42.8. So the gap is coming down, and he actually managed some traffic on that lap as well. So Jersey's 3/10. My very quick maths there. I don't think that's going to be enough in 6 minutes worth of racing to get onto him, unless Spec Welch has something very dramatic go wrong, which we don't want to see, of course.
Jersey Glack now moves up into 2nd. He got around Greg Edney there.
Greg Edney doing the right thing. Amateur versus pro. Yeah, Am versus pro. No point. Let him go. It's easier. Don't get in the way. Sam Lira. So what's Sam happened here? Ford doing Ford things and probably trying to kill him. So he goes, brakes into bus stop, snap right, snap left. It's like riding a rodeo there. Which way is it going to go next? But gets it locked down, gets the back slit up, nearly comes out in front of the Ford. We've got a car around, I think. We've got Gavin Boyett on the exit of the final turn, manages to get himself looped around.
It's like he was trying to do a little bit of Tokyo Drift going through there.
So what happened here? Oh no. 2 wheels on the grass. So he's going to have a compromised view of the of where the apex is there. Puts 2 wheels on the grass on the left. Around she goes, gets it straightened up, carries on down the road. No harm. The only harm is to his pride as he drops down a little bit in the order. So now, what have we got here? We have got James Costa and James Howard within half a second of each other for 2nd place, or 2nd and 3rd in Am. So what's going to happen between those two? And I say James Howard around here, as you said, likes to run this place for fun. Probably going to have something for James Costa. There's enough of this race left to do something. As you can see them just there in shot above of Gavin Boyett.
Yep, James really driving his gut out right here. Working his way all the way from almost, back there where Jersey and Jeff Applegren were starting, and he's come up through the field really nicely here, kept himself out of trouble. The car still looks relatively clean.
James Costa's going to have one eye in the mirror, which won't be doing you any favours, but you should be having both eyes out the windscreen, because he's going to be thinking, where's the move going to come from? There will be a move, no 2 ways about it. James Howard is close enough to be putting a move in, unless Costa can use all of the V6 Ford grunt that it has against the V8 flat plane crank, I think it is, in that Corvette.
Yep, V8 flat plane crank, and
it
doesn't have that same grunt that the Corvette used to. But in my opinion, it's a different sound. But I still like the way that car sounds. It's still got a really nice, crisp sound to it.
Indeed.
Just takes a little getting used to, I guess.
Daniel Tenorio there on the back of Dean. Paul Warwick. Warwick Paul. Sorry, I've got his name all wrong there. Sorry, Warwick. So we can see Daniel makes it go. Oh, looks to the outside. Doesn't get it done. Wobble. That's it. Arms flying everywhere again. And now Lyden Lee is on the back of Daniel.
He's gonna have a run.
So what can Lyden do with this? Lyden's a great little driver. He does ever so well. He just plucks away. It's the same as we see in RSR World Series with Lyden. Finishes races, keeps his nose clean, keeps himself out of trouble, no issues, just gets on with the job in hand. And they're the sort of drivers that will do well in championships. They don't do anything crazy, don't do anything silly, just banging the points in. And while these top boys at the top of the field will be having moments and stuff, he'll just be doing his thing and keeping himself clean. And that's what can win you championships sometimes. It's not necessarily finishing every race at the front, because every time you finish a race at the front, there might be that chance of finishing it at the back.
Yeah.
You see Warwick just getting 2 wheels on the grass on the exit of the corner. It keeps it all straight line, which is nice. So we've got Dean Timms and John Casey. John Casey's done well, kept himself up near the top 20, just in 21st. Oh, he lets himself go there. So it's not a bad shot, really. John, very new to this sort of world of road racing as well as league racing, but he's doing a great job. Will score points where he is. We've got Kyle looking to the inside of Daniel. Going to make a move. Makes the move. Turns it. Ooh. There wasn't a lot of room between those two cars. Yeah, Daniel would have been looking ahead of him, thinking, "Oh, he's coming across." So let's see moving forward as to how this battle will pan out. But I think these boys will be coming up on the white flag lap now. So this will be the white flag lap. This will be the last lap. If we go with the leader here, Spec Welch. Just done what had to be done, really. Had that little moment with William earlier on. William obviously came off a lot worse, unfortunately. Jersey Black, 7.5 seconds behind. He has brought the gap down. Nowhere near enough, unfortunately. 42.2. We're seeing times that aren't a million miles away from the qualifying times with that. In fact, I think that probably is within 100th of what he ran in qualifying. I think Jersey did a 1:42.1 in qualifying, so he's fairly close to what he did.
Yeah, they are flying.
But this is optimum temperatures now. You know, the track's now, what is it? It's still 27 degrees, but it's, you know, sun's going down. It's just a nice time to be out on there. Visibility's great. You've not got any sun glare or anything like that. Lyden Lee looking to put the move in on Paul. On the outside. Warwick's having none of it. Brakes later. Keeps himself ahead. So I'm seeing Lyden on the side of his car as a Swedish flag, and I think there's a driver in their team who is Swedish, one of the co-founding members of the what is OTCR, which is VRT is a branch off of what is OTCR. OTCR is more set of quarter-based league and team, and VRT, the racing team, is the iRacing section, but the Swedish flag will be one of their co-founding members or their admins that does run a lot with iRacing. Not a Swedish man in it, and not an English man in it either. I think Lyden's definitely an American chap. So as they come up to complete what is race 2, Spec Welch is your overall winner, followed by Jersey Black. Taylor Lane is your top 3. And fantastic racing for all these boys in race 2. Had some bits, ups and downs and things like that, and it wasn't all plain sailing. It wasn't easy for them. And we did see, unfortunately, a big name in our of Jeff Applegreen getting taken out very early on.
Yeah, and I think that's going to have huge championship implications as well, especially with Jersey coming all the way back up to second. And with Jeff taking the DNF there, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out later on in the season.
Absolutely. So I think the best thing to do now, as we see the cars cooling down and bringing themselves in, while you go through the race results, Casey, I'm going to see if we can grab a word with our winner there of Spec Welch.
All right. So, as we mentioned, Spec Welch, Jersey Glack, Taylor Lane, they are your podium finishers. Greg Edney bringing it home in 4th place. That is going to be your AM winner. Nick Veltenair brings it home in 5th. Gavin Boyette in 6th. James Howard comes all the way back up to 2nd in AM to take 7th overall. Andrew Hewson brings it home in 8th. Wasn't even sure he was going to run this second race, but decided to stick with it and gets a nice solid top 10. James Costa brings it home in 9th. Christian Fures rounds out the top 10. Michael Kalaga in 11th. Wart Paul brings it home 12th. Lyden Lee 13th. Daniel Tenorio 14th. Kyle Fredrickson in 15th. Jacob Schneider, with all that damage that he suffered to the back of that Corvette, still manages to bring it home in 16th. Eric Kalaga 17th. 18th for Steven Martinez. 19th for Derek Dennis. Dean Timms 20th. John Casey 21st. Sam Lear brings it home in 27th. Jevin Gunning in 23rd. And it looks like the rest of these guys are the ones that were involved in some of them wrecks. 9 laps down, Tom Moustakis in 24th. Kenny Rodriguez in 25th. Simon Dodd 26th. William Paisley 27th. Matt Baltazar in 28th. And unfortunately for Jeff Appelgren, he will finish dead last in 29th.
It's going to have a big effect to his overall point scoring. But yeah, I think the next thing to do, let's have a conversation with Spec Welch. So we're going to bring him in. So just while we get this bit sorted.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just looking at that lap where William went off. Trying to figure out what happened.
He's in the chat. Spec, welcome. So well done on your win. There might be a little bit of controversy maybe between you and Matthew. I don't know. No, sorry, you and Matthew. Sorry, were you and William? I don't know what happened there. We had a look at it, but obviously we shall see. But well done on the win, mate. Thank you
very much.
No, well, thank you for taking part in our series. And so, just how was it feeling? Did you feel any sort of tyre wear issues or anything like that as the race went on?
The track did get a little oily towards the end. Was a little bit different than the first race, so that took a little bit of adjusting. But overall, it wasn't too bad.
Nice. So yeah, a bit of an improvement on what happened in race 1, I think.
Yes, I self-destroyed me. Apparently, you cannot brake at the 250 marker into the bus stop.
No, you can't. You end up becoming a pogo stick and inevitably a squishy mess in a tyre barrier.
And that was unfortunate. I'm glad I didn't take anybody out or cause any issues. And then I got to see all the beautiful liveries drive by me before I jump back on track.
Yeah, that's the best feeling in the world, is watching cars just fly by you thinking, where the hell am I going to end up here? So, but yeah, I think well done on your win, mate. It's been a pleasure being able to commentate on you this evening. So yeah, Casey, you got anything for Spec?
No, man, just good job. Way to put in a solid performance there in race 2.
Thank you very much. And I am very sorry to William on that bus stop. I don't know what happened, so I'll have to look at it. But regardless, it was a fun race. Thank you guys very much for hosting this, and thanks to your sponsors and the commentators who do a wonderful job.
We appreciate that.
Nice one, yeah. Well, yeah, mate. Best of luck at the next round, and hopefully you'll not have any mistakes like you had in the first race. I mean, next round, Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, Montreal. Is it a track you're familiar with?
It is, yes. Not as familiar as Watkins, if that means anything, but I do enjoy it.
It's a very tricky track. I mean, we were there earlier on this season with the RSR World Series, and yeah, walls bite, as a lot of people found out. There's a lot of walls that can really make a mess. There's some even famous big names in real world racing I've found out, hence why the very last corner is named after one who inevitably ploughed himself into it, which is a shame. But look, thank you ever so much for taking part in it. And anything you want to say to anyone?
I just want to thank my fellow teammates from Valhalla SimSport and the commentators and RacingSimRigs for their sponsorship into this race.
Spec, thank you ever so much. I'm going to pop you back
thanks,
down.
sir.
And best of luck in the next round, mate. And thank you for being a part of it.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, mate.
All right. Have a good one.
So, final thoughts, Casey. What you got?
Ooh, man. That was a really spicy race too, and as we've mentioned several times, that's going to have far-reaching implications in the championship here. So that's going to be, unless Jersey runs into some trouble here, in the coming weeks, that could be really hard for Jeff to recover from. Especially with Jersey bringing it all the way back up to finish second. So
very much so. Yeah, it's wrong place, wrong time, all that sort of stuff. I think it was just a combination of a difference in pace, a difference in speed, and obviously being so bunched up there, it did cause that accident that ended Jeff's race. So it's a big shame.
Exactly, and that was one of the biggest things that I was worried about going into this second race, though, for those guys back there. If they were going to be pushing coming up to the field, that's what causes some of these wrecks that we saw. So it's very tricky, trying to toe that line between being too aggressive and not coming through the field quick enough. So
very much
went a little overboard there.
And it happens, and it's very easy for it to happen. It's a shame when it does, but it's just some great racing through the field, and I think that's everything. Rob, do you want to do your little wrap up?
Indeed, I will. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. If you like what you see, give us a follow, give us a subscribe, like the video. Make sure that you check out the RSR GTE series. If you're in the US, it's a perfect time for you. Consider becoming a member or donate to our PayPal page down below in the video description. And that was, by the way, Casey Metzger and Harry Wills doing commentary for you guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed. But until next week when we're at Montreal, take care, guys. Enjoy yourselves and have an awesome, awesome rest of the week.